What is happening, you wonderful people? So, I just got home a little bit ago from seeing the new DreamWorks film and the spin-off slash sequel to the Captain Underpants film from 2017 that I did not like, Dogman. And in this film, when a police officer and his faithful police dog get injured in the line of duty, a harebrained but life-saving surgery fuses the two of them together, and Dogman is born. As Dogman learns to embrace his new identity, he must stop feline supervillain Petey the Cat from cloning himself and going on a crime spree. And that's all I can say without giving too much away. It's not a spoiler filled film. Let's talk about it. So, Dogman is the latest DreamWorks film, and it is the sequel slash spinoff to the Captain Underpants film from 2017. Again, I did not like that film, but again, I enjoyed the Captain Underpants books when I was little. I never read the Dogman books, and it's funny. It's funny because I didn't know these two were connected. I didn't know they were. So after seeing the Captain Underpants movie, and learning that this was a tie-in to that Captain Underpants movie, I wasn't very excited. But before that as well, seeing the trailer, it didn't do anything for me. I wasn't excited. I love DreamWorks. I love most of their movies. The Shrek films, the Madagascar films, the Wild Robot, the Croods films. I love majority of their films. I am more of a Pixar guy. I've always loved Pixar, but I've always loved DreamWorks. I think DreamWorks is phenomenal. They're amazing. So going into this film, I had no expectations. I didn't. So I want to talk about my positives first, and I want to talk about my negatives next, because that's how I always do it. But my overall thoughts about this film, it didn't work for me. It didn't work, and I didn't have any expectations for it. I didn't. But I was going in hoping I would enjoy it somewhat, because I want to enjoy every movie I see. I want to hopefully enjoy every movie I see. And this is not a horrible film by any means. But let's talk about the positives first. So, this film is mainly drawn towards kids. This is definitely a kids' film, and I think a lot of adults are really going to enjoy this film. The screening I was at this morning, I overheard a lot of adults really enjoying it. Like, I walked out and I heard a guy behind me say, "That was great. Like, you really enjoyed it." So a lot of adults on my screen were laughing as well. Like, they were like legit laughing, and there are some funny moments in this film. There are legit moments where I was like, "Oh my gosh!" Like it was actually funny. Like I don't want to say I belly laughed. I didn't like to the point I couldn't breathe, but I was laughing. Like, it's a legit funny movie. It is, but it the animation is great too. It has that, because Dogman is a comic book series, and it has that comic book esque like look to it, and I like that because that's how the books are, and that's how they should have done the movie, and they did do that to the movie. And along the lines of that, the way they edited this film, I really enjoyed how they did, because it had like the words you see in a comic book. You know what I'm talking about. It's like this. I have my comic books right here actually. It's like um you know y'all know what I'm talking about. It's like all that, and the pow and the boom and all. It has that type of stuff in it. And I really think that worked in the film. It did, along with the animation, the comic book esque look of it, and the editing, how they would transition from scene to scene. I really enjoyed that sense of the movie. I really enjoyed that part of the movie. It really worked. And there are, at some points, heartwarming moments. Not the whole time. Not as much as there should be. Well, there are heartwarming moments, but I'm going to talk about that part more in depth in the negative section. Because while there are heartwarming moments, and again, I'll talk about them in the negative section, they don't really work that much. But there are times where they sometimes work. Sometimes. Not all the time, but sometimes. And the movie overall, for the positives, just talking about the positives, it's fun sometimes. Like, you have these characters that really don't have any depth or personality or anything, but they're just there, and you don't get to understand these characters. You don't get to understand their motives or anything like that. But you have Dogman, you have the cop, you have the news reporter, you have Petey the cat, you have Little Petey, you have the fish, you have Petey the cat's dad, and those characters can be fun sometimes. They can be. They really can. So for somewhat the most part in the film, it's fun at times. It is. But that's all I have to say for my positives for the movie. Let's talk about the negatives now. So now talking about the negatives, I have issues with this film, and I think that while the humor does land for the most part, it does land. There are times where it feels like they were trying way, way too hard with the humor. There are times where the humor does land and you actually get a good laugh out of it. Not belly laugh. You don't laugh until you can't breathe, but there are legit funny moments. But also there are moments in this film where they try too hard. And there are moments where they throw the humor at you and it just falls flat. It doesn't land, and I'm just sitting there like, everyone else is laughing around me. I'm not like I like kind of laughed at those moments. Like I kind of did, but there's people around me like fully laughing at those scenes where I'm just like, it's funny. Like there's so many puns in this film, and some of them do work. Some of the puns do work. I'll say that. And at times I thought it was like there might have been a few metaphorical moments, and I thought there were a lot of them, but then I was like, no, those are puns. Those are not metaphorical moments. Those are puns. So there are times where the humor doesn't really land. And the thing with this film as well is that the pacing is not tight. It is very rushed, and right from the get go, right when the movie opens, they get right into it. And there was something I wanted to say too, but then I thought about it and I was like, I don't know if that would make sense if I said that, but this is what I was going to say. And let me know what y'all think, if this makes sense or not. It does not feel like this movie has a beginning, middle, and end. It just feels like right when it opens, it gets right into it. And the pacing, it is all over the place. It is way too fast. And it just feels like, and I don't know if that makes sense or not, but it does not have a beginning, middle, or end. It just is all one big just glob. It's just one big just all together. And it's so fast paced, and you don't get a chance to understand the characters. You don't get a chance to understand the story, and you're just sitting there, and you're like, okay, we need to slow this down so we can understand what these characters' motivations are, what this story has to offer. What these characters' personalities are, what this story has to engage us all. And the story's a mess. It's not an over the top mess, but it just it's not an interesting story. Maybe there are parts where it is interesting at times, but it's a very it's a story that you've seen a million times before. It's a very generic, soulless, hollow story that you've seen in animated movies a million times before. And the characters in the story are not memorable. It's a very, like, I don't know. It's a very paint by numbers film. Paint by numbers in the sense that, or paint by numbers meaning that it's predictable. You know what's going to happen in this film. The ending, the emotional moment, you've seen this movie a million times before. And it's just, the emotional moments they throw at you, but instead of it having a gut punch, like you're supposed to feel that gut punch, it just falls flat. The emotional moments just fall flat, and you don't feel anything, and you're just sitting there and you're like, yeah, I understand that I was supposed to feel something. I was supposed to feel that gut punch, but instead I didn't, and it just didn't. It just didn't work for me. The movie overall, as a whole, it just didn't work. There are times where it worked, and there are times where it didn't. And it's just overall, when I think about it, when I put it all together, when I talk about it, it just didn't fully work for me. So yeah, overall, Dogman sadly did not fully work for me. Maybe it'll work for you. I want to talk to y'all down below, and I want to see what y'all thought. Maybe y'all will find a diamond in the rough with this film. Maybe y'all will really enjoy this film. But for Dogman, I'm going to give this movie a 3 out of 5 stars.
Well, that was anticlimactic.
I wouldn't watch it again. My little sister is very excited for it. So hopefully she'll enjoy it. And I'm hoping y'all will enjoy it. But yeah, I didn't like it that much. So that'll wrap up this video. Thank y'all so much for watching. If you're new to the channel, please do not forget to subscribe, like, comment, share on this video. We are at 712 subs. Next big milestone is 800. We're reaching that quickly. Then 9 the big, or 8, and then 9. The big one is 1K and beyond that as well. And if you're new as well, I do movie reviews, TV show reviews, trailer reactions, movie live streams, movie news, movie rankings, and all that wonderful movie stuff under the movie umbrella. And let's talk about it down below. Tell me what y'all thought. Did y'all like Dogman? Did y'all not like it? When it actually releases, are y'all going to go watch it? If y'all got an early screening like me, what did y'all think about it? Let's talk about it in the comments down below. And keep talking movies, my wonderful people. Cheers.